to our next one, and I'm going to take the pronunciation of this before Bart has a sort of hissy fit on this. Stefanos Tzimas. So when this news broke, a lot of people, probably similar to me, were a little bit of, just say that again. Did I miss that? But it's a Sam Maguire exclusive has come up, Bart, in the sort of last 24 hours. Liverpool know what's required. There is a big race for this kid. They're currently ahead, as it says there, of Bayern Munich. And I'm going to be honest, when I sent this name to you, I know you thought I'd put it wrong and I'd spell checked it and it would auto-corrected something like that. And then I told you a bit about like this kid. And even as I was getting the info, I was like you, Bart. So I was like, what? Who? Type of thing to describe it. But as I said to you, and I know you've had a look at this, the nerds, the stats boys, your people absolutely love this kid, is the info we're getting. Are you the same?
Yeah, I'm just trying to reload the page a little bit because it's gone off ready to go. But yeah, I honestly, that's exactly how it played out for listeners. We're not just making it up as some sort of story for the pod. But when Dave said, I was like, you for real? Are you said to be a 19-year-old kid that no one's heard of? But when you start looking at him, yes, he's 19. He has literally played 25 minutes, right? That's literally, this is Bundesliga 2. It's quite hard to get decent data for Bundesliga 2. I'm lucky F-Brief and a few other sites have got stuff. But if we look at publicly available against forwards in the last year, right? I don't have to tell you that there's a lot of green on that. Defensively, tackles and blocks, we always start there. He's in blocks 93rd percentile. Clearances and errors 1, okay, fair enough. Means he's probably not getting brought back for corners and not involved in that. Fair enough. Interceptions can be part of a pressing if he's not doing that, but then equally blocking. So that suggests he is involved higher up the pitch in a defensive manner, and he's actually 90. That's won a game. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And this is all year in his against position players in his position. If you look at his tackles, 82nd percentile. So again, that's not to be sniffed at, considering Kibash, where was he? He was 67th, and he's in a conservative side. So yeah, that's not a bad defensive profile for a kid who's 19, not playing a lot of football, playing up front. If you look at where we are in the middle of the park, so you typically wouldn't expect a forward to be amazing at this, but against his compatriots, yes. So it's because he is generally in the final third. But so passes attempted and pass completion is low. Says to me he's more of a touch finish, right? He's not really looking to pass that ball on. He wants to be on the end of a chance. Okay. Then you've got carries, take-ons, touches in the penalty box, and progressive passes received. So those first 3 there are all in the 99th or 98th percentile in the last year, which says to me the team's entirely set up to get him the ball, but equally, once he gets the ball, he'll carry it towards goal, and he's very successful at it and take players on. So that's a real positive. He also has 7.62 touches in the attacking penalty box per 90. That's almost a third of Liverpool's total touches in a game against Tottenham in the League Cup. That's an amazing amount that you're having. Progressive passes received, again, I would suggest the system set up for him to receive those. He's getting about 6 a game.
Yeah.
But let's look about it. So when he gets that ball, what does he do with it? Non-penalty goals, 97 percentile, so 0.77 a game. XG, non-penalty XG, 0.64, 95th percentile, 97 for shots total. So he's taking 4 shots a game. That's a good amount. Is it 5? Something like that. Sometimes it's more than that. Darwin came in doing about 4. He now does 1 or 2. So 4 a game shots. He's very good. Assists, again, not a strong point. We've already said that. He's not looking to pass the ball. He's looking to get a shot off. So there we go. Non-penalty XG at XA, 93rd. Shot creating actions, 76. We roll that back to the winger. That's 4.8. Stefanos is 2.7. Not bad for a kid who's 19. I mean, that's his wagon wheel on his own. But if we compared him So he'd be coming in to compete with Jota and Nunes. That's fair, isn't it? That's a fair thing to compare with.
Yeah.
I always like to be fair. So Jota, what we always said about stocking the profile players, that is a very, very similar profile player to Jota. Jota, we've said, is not great in build-up. Jota isn't great. He's hustle bustle, likes to carry it, can't really pass it. He's not great in a build-up, but in the box comes alive. The slotter, right? Here he is. So Jota, yes, has got more goals and assists. Fine. He's playing for Liverpool. He's also played wide and cross the ball in. But if you look at his non-penalty, the non-penalty XG, this kid is actually matching or better in him. In terms of carries, so when he gets it in take-ons, this kid's better in Jota. The non-penalty XG, non-penalty goals is better in Jota. But the thing, you look at that shape, it's a very similar shape to Jota. It's a very similar profile, right? I'll just try and find our old friend Nunes. I've got him on here somewhere. Here we go. How does he match up to Nunes? Very similar profile. Very similar profile. But again, he's slightly outperforming Nunes in terms of carries, take-ons, defensively, and non-penalty goals. Okay, and there's about 5 percentage points there between the others. So, yeah, there's things to look at this profile, and I can see why the nerds, as you call them, the data guys, Will Spearn, would have gone, hang on a minute, 19, and he's doing this. Another thing you can do with Bundesliga, which is good about data, is you can get a lot of their physical data. Okay, so this guy's made 10 starts, okay, 10 90s. He's made 14 appearances, but 10 90s. So if you look at his physical metrics, which Dan Kennett is UB, everyone on AONO, is raised this earlier on. He said, look, if you look at his intensive runs and his speed's 33.4, that's decent. So sprints, 304. Remember, he's made 10 90s. He's made 30 sprints a game. The number you want to start getting serious about, as Brundish said to me earlier, is 28. So he's above that at 19.
Wow.
He's making more sprints a game. He's above that level of marker of being, the way the big boys are, if you know what I mean. So this is looking to be a very good potential signing. Fast maps, he's involved in the areas. Actually, if I'm being really honest, he's actually in exactly the same areas as Jota and Nunes appear on our pass maps, which is in this area here. They're helping to support. I know it's hard to be, we normally end up with a double 10 in our pass maps. So that's kind of where he is at the moment. How's he involved? So he's not involved massively in EPV production, but he still does 4.3. Jules, it's not really what you're looking for him to do. Total shots in this game is 3, touches 33. It's good. There's a lot to like about this kid. There really is. Even in terms of XG, threat, stopping people from doing it. He's making a contribution there to stop the creation of threat right at the top of the pitch. So he stopped 67% of threat going to in that area from the centre half. He's a 19. This is a good performance. Look at where his defensive actions are, and he's in an area not great, but he's probably covering 3 or 4 boxes there. There's a lot of things to think about and say, I can see why they would have identified him and profiled him at this young age. I don't know what the price is, but he looks a very similar profile to what we are. Okay. He's got a lot more upside in certain elements than others, but there's a lot to like for this profile. And if the price is right, I would suggest this would be a very astute signing if we can get it done.
Price, we always talk about price on this, people, because we try and talk about it to yardsticks. It's good in the market and gives a good indication. Now, the 2 elements with price on this are important, that the Nuremberg do have a loan with an option. So their option is 18 million euros, which is practically nothing in football terms. Now, according to Sam Maguire's exclusive, and he's had the name first, to be fair, we know he doesn't do many. The article suggests that a price point, Bart, of around 25 million, with Liverpool leading the race. Now, in real world, the 25 million is a huge amount. In football terms, and we're talking attackers, 25 million. I mean, someone said this the other day. I think it's important to quote. The championship record for a forward is 28 million. That's in the championship. 25 million pounds. If they believe this kid, and I'm seeing it from your stats and your take as well, would you fancy that's worth an educated punt?
I mean, for 20 million, they'd do it in a way which they wouldn't end up paying 25 million up front. They wouldn't do that, But I think in this climate, with what we're putting, I mean, what other forwards we linked to? We looked at maybe the Brighton lad. He's going to cost us more than 40, 50, 60 million pounds. If you look at essentially replacing our front line, our front nine for 25 million, looking at those stats, I would say that'd be a very astute signing. Just to give people a note, though, because it's Bundesliga 2, you do have to put a slight caveat on the data, and that is worked out. So one on the Premier League, you have to multiply it. So it's 34% less, if you get what I mean. So everything you do is 44% less than it would be in the Bundesliga to convert to Premier League. So that's a slight caveat, but they'll have access to other data that's far more detailed than we've got here. But I would suggest if they get him for a decent price, that's a very astute move. Yeah, true. I'd rather buy the Georgian lad, but for me, why not get both?
Yeah, one can play on the left wing in the future. One can be a striker, isn't it? So exactly that. And Brad H makes a great point there with how quickly quality striker prices can rise after even a good half season. I understand that. And I suppose with this, Bart, and I wanted to ask you this. I know we haven't really spoken about it. We've talked about Liverpool and the desire for Liverpool to be the right point of the chain. Too often, we are the final piece, as in a team like Benfica will take someone like Darwin Nunez and then will buy for top price. A team like Brighton will take a Baleba from Lille and then will look to buy at top price. There's always been this desire for Liverpool to almost don't be the end of the chain. Develop your own players, make the smart, astute buys. Could this fall into that category for you? As in, if we don't do it, is someone going to swoop in and we're looking at 60 million in a year or so?
Yeah, 100%. I think anyone who's read anything about the guys, Ian Graham, Spearing and Edwards back in the day, not right now because there's a few things differently now, but they always look for profile players around this 19-20 mark and then the 23-24, right? And it was about the number of appearances and look at the data. And the reason you get that is you get it just before they go supernova or just before their value starts rocketing, right? And then whether they fit the club, and there's so many other filters. But for me, this smacks of they've clearly got other data on this that they wouldn't be running off this. They've been looking at, they must have been looking at this kid for a while. He hits lots of he profiles really similarly to a lot of the forwards we currently have, but with output as well. I think this is a bit like Hato. When we did the left back and the that's another kid that has been profiled. I would suggest that if you don't get him now, he's going to go supernova maybe next season, and then it's going to cost you £56 million. This kid here, if he carries on like this, he ain't going to be playing Bundesliga 2 football next season, whether that's with us, Bayern, or whatever else, and then it'll be out of our range. And the key thing people have got to remember is Liverpool didn't really buy those ready-made names. They didn't win the title doing that. You can argue and say, Alisson, Van Dijk, all right, fair enough, one or two. But, your Robertsons, your Mane. Mane was just going to go supernova. He was in that peak of that. He was doing really well at Southampton. They bought him and he went supernova with us. Bobby was well known around Europe, but he needed to go supernova. Mo had a couple of poor seasons, done really well in Italy, brought him back. So there wasn't a player in there. Ginny, for example, was a 10 under Newcastle. We profiled him as an 8. So the whole basis of our approach usually has been to find players that fit a profile that haven't quite blown up in terms of their stature and therefore an affordable price, and maybe have a sell-on value, or you get the best out of it. So for me, this is almost a trade back to those years, or a bet a little bit the age bracket below.
Wow, there you go. And funnily enough, as Brad's just told us, Florian Plettenberg has just confirmed Sam's reporting. So it does look like there's something in this. And Bart's in on it. I'm in on it. Never, before anyone starts, because someone's going to say as well, no, me and Bart's do not watch Bundesliga 2. We can only run off the stats and what we're seeing here. But there is a lot to like. No two ways about it. And the final